Today I'm going to be talking about why leopard geckos make good pets. Leopard geckos are very, very popular in the pet trade and very popular in the reptile keeping trade, I guess you can say. This is Goldie. If you guys remember her, if you've been on this channel for a long time, you'll remember her. She's gotten a lot more grown up and she's full size now. And this is about as big as you'll get. Maybe if you overfeed her or feed her a little bit more, she'll get a little bit bigger, but right now this is a good size for a leopard gecko. But why do they make good pets? I'm going to be explaining in this video why they do. Start off with handling. Now handling is very good. Most of the time you'll get a lizard that likes to be handled, or not necessarily likes to be handled, but doesn't mind it. You'll get a lizard that you can handle and it won't bite back, or it won't have an attitude, or it won't try and run away. It will let you hold it. And most of the time leopard geckos are very good like that. But on rare occasions you can get really, not hostile, but really more active and wild leopard geckos, like my leopard gecko Rambo. He currently has stick tail, so he's in quarantine, so I will not be showing him today because he's in kind of a bad condition right now. Like I said, he's in quarantine because he has stick tail, which is a very, very contagious disease in leopard geckos, so I keep him away from everybody else so they do not get sick. And I'm currently nursing him back to health, but that's besides the point. And that leads into my next subject, health. Health is really good. They're not gonna need as much appointments as, let's say, a dog would or as a human would, but sometimes if there's something severely wrong with them, if they have something like stick tail, you would need to go to the vet, and sometimes that can cost a pretty penny, but that's in very rare occasions. Most of the time stuff can be resolved at home. It might cost you a bit, not too much. It might cost you a couple pennies, but it's all for the sake of your leopard gecko's health. So health-wise, they're really healthy animals, and at the most commonly you'll run into a stuck shed, which is very easy to handle and take care of. Now what about housing? Now Goldie is my only leopard gecko I house in a 20-gallon. I do plan on upgrading them all to 20 gallons at one point in the future, but everybody's doing this fine in a 10-gallon. Goldie's my prized possession, so that's why I gave her the biggest tank. Now, usually for one leopard gecko, you'll want a 10-gallon through 15-gallon, and 10-gallon through 15-gallon through 20-gallon. You can use a 10-gallon, that's completely fine. They can live in there happily, but if you just want to go ahead and give them that extra room, you can upgrade to a 20-gallon. Now, housing leopard geckos is a bit harder of a subject, so I'll link a video by Alex Green, aka Go Herping, in the description where he talks about that because he's more experienced in that part of leopard gecko keeping than I am. But space-wise, enclosure-wise, husbandry-wise, they're pretty easy animals. Right now, my enclosure looks kind of dirty due to the fact because I have not cleaned it out this week, and it will be cleaned out today. But you can see it's a really basic enclosure. Now, they can be kept on reptile carpet. This one is by Sumed, Silda, and I'm pretty sure Exoterra has some too. They can be kept on dirt, and they can be kept on extravator clay, but never use sand. Never use sand or calcium sand or anything that can really get into this system that they can't digest, because if they can't digest it, it will stick there, and this can lead to your leopard gecko's death. But husbandry wise, they're not as needy, and there's a plane going by. cool. They're not as needy as other reptiles. They don't need as much attention. Do you mind? Okay, good. They don't need as much attention. I'm not saying don't give them any attention. I'm just saying it's not like something like a dart frog or other high maintenance species to where you need to keep an eye on it all times. If the slightest humidity goes up or down, it's a case of life or death. Their humidity ranges anywhere from 20 to 50. So a desert kind of humidity, you never want it to be too dry though, but you never want it to be too hot though. That's why for their cage you will use a heat mat because they gain their heat from their belly. You'll use a heat mat to make one side of the cage warm and the other side cool. And I always use two hides. One hide for your warm side and one hide, a moist hide for your cool hide. A moist hide could be anything from there's another hide with moss in it or to a Tupperware. I'll leave a picture on screen now of what some people use moist hides as. But yeah, so I'll leave a picture on screen for what people have moist hides as. But yeah, so, and you give them water. It's optional to give them a calcium dish. I give Goldie one this for her, and I'm giving Rambo one, my other leopard gecko, my other personal leopard gecko, calcium because he needs it in order to get him back to health. But yeah, you change their water every few weeks. You change their water every day or every few days, and you clean out the enclosure every week. And I would say full clean it maybe once a month or two. But yeah, so husbandry wise, they're really simple husbandry wise. They're not needy, but they're simple husbandry wise. They're not needy, nor are they completely simple. It's a good mix between everything, so it's a good mix between everything because it can really lead to skills in the future. If you do want to continue adding reptiles to your home, you can use the skills you've learned from your first reptile, which I would recommend be a leopard gecko, you can use your skills from what you learned from leopard gecko husbandry to add those upon any of the reptiles you may get in the future. Now let's talk about food-wise. Food-wise, sometimes you can get picky eaters. Now, waxworms you never want to feed. Mealworms, dubia roaches, and crickets are three completely fine things. Waxworms you can feed every so often as a treat. But feeding wise, they are not picky eaters most of the time. Sometimes you get picky eaters like my lizard. Sometimes you get picky eaters like Rambo and Goldie. She's not really a picky eater actually. You get picky eaters sometimes, that's what I'm trying to say. And this can be a little hard to figure out, but eventually you can figure out what they like and what they don't like. And I would never recommend feeding dead crickets. I know Sumed has those like dead crickets in a can, blah 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 blah. I would never recommend that because that's not giving your leopard gecko any nutrient. When you're keeping crickets, please gut load them with some form of calcium and some form of food before feeding them, so your leopard gecko can digest those vitamins and be a healthy leopard gecko. And this is what I mean by she's a very handleable leopard gecko. She is amazing and I love her. But yeah, so I think that covers it. Now begs the question, do they make good pets? Yes, they do. Leopard geckos are very easy pets. They only take up a little space in your room. that you can afford to lose, and they're really, really nice pets. You can hold them, you can not snuggle them, but you can really love on them and show them compassion, and they're some of the best pet reptiles out there. So I hope this helped any people, any kids, any parents who might be thinking about getting a leopard gecko or getting into the reptile hobby. So please leave a like if you did enjoy this video. If you did that, please subscribe. If you want to, you better, or else I'm gonna come find you. But yeah, I think that covers it. I'm Nicholas, and I'll see you guys later.